After 5 races at brand new venues, we will return to a Season 1 venue for the very first time in Season 2. And for anybody who's feeling a little tricky here today, you've come to the right place as we open the doors back up to virtual Legacy Pocono Raceway for 3 turns of thunder tonight. Round number 6 of Season number 2 for the RIL Daredevil Series live on Turn 200. Howdy folks, my name is Tommy Cook. We have the one and only, the absolute legend, the absolute unit, Matt Williamson, hanging out with us here tonight. We saw another incredible performance from Gavin Sanders last week, and he is now 2 for 2 on the season. But what is his performance in Mid-Ohio last week done to the points as we start to look down the stretch here?
Tommy, Gavin, he's 2 for 2, like you said. It's crazy that he could come in halfway through the season and potentially win this championship. Octavio Rondoletto, no surprise, is still on top of the pile here still, as he cracked off his 4th podium of the season last week at Mid-Ohio. But Gavin Sanders has started 2 races, and he has won 2 races. But even with this top-heavy point system, he is still 1,500 points out of the top spot, down in 4th place. The 2 drivers behind him both lost ground in the hunt for the championship this last week, as James Watson finished P9 after 2 consecutive races of eating into his deficit, and Nicholas Johnston regained the 3rd spot in the standings after missing the Richmond race. Now, some things to keep in mind heading into today. I know it may sound a little ridiculous, but anyone who is more than 3,000 points back after the checkered flag has dropped here tonight at Pocono, they will be eliminated from mathematical contention. And a lot fewer drivers inside of that 3,000 point bubble will have realistic paths to a championship. It's officially hunker down time for a lot of the drivers towards the bottom right of this graphic.
We mentioned it's a return trip for the first time this season, as round number 8 last season was right here at the Tricky Triangle. But it's actually my first trip here with the Daredevils, as I was on Flow Racing broadcasting while you were holding the fort here on Turn 200 last season. So you've got the upper hand on me in terms of past experience. What did we see here last May?
Well, just like almost every single Daredevil race, we saw a very his first Daredevil race.
Why you gotta put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby? Come on, just because he got wrecked out of every other race by somebody else the times that I was here, and the one time I wasn't here, he won the race. How is that my fault?
It is one of my favorite things to bring up, even though it's been broken now. It is one of my favorite things to bring up from our first season.
And I think we've officially buried the hatchet, or ended the curse officially, because I got to meet Nate Siefker this year in person. So he's the only one of the RIL crew that I've met so far. So the curse is officially ended. We could put it to bed. And looking for another strong performance from Nate Siefker here tonight. It's crazy to think of everything that's changed from last season to this season. 5 of the top 10 drivers in points coming into tonight weren't even in the league in Season 1. And 2 of the 3 drivers that you see on this graphic here that finished on the podium have yet to reappear in competition this season. Crazy how it all changes. Speaking of change, it's looking like somebody is going to come away with a nice chunk of change at the end of the season, as the total pot for the Jacksonville Speedway 0-0 Challenge, as we had 2 more drivers finish with a 0x and on the lead lap at Mid-Ohio. The pot just keeps going up. It's their first respective entries for Wes A. Shire and Matthew Short after they finish on the lead lap with a 0x. Anybody that does the same here tonight at Pocono will join them, and that pot will continue to get bigger and bigger. We thank the folks at Jacksonville Speedway for their continued support of the RIL Daredevil Series with the 0-0 Challenge. We will give you our final thoughts ahead of tonight's Pocono race for the RIL Daredevil Series when we come back, and we'll also get a word in with Mr. Two-Pete himself, Gavin Sanders, who is your Turn 200 driver to watch here tonight. That is what's around the corner on Turn 200.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Broken art I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
His first career RIL Daredevil Series victory, it's Gavin Sanders with the win in Richmond. 2 weeks in a row, Gavin Sanders is a winner with the RIL Daredevil Series back-to-back. Back to the live action here on our RIL Daredevil Series pre-race show here at virtual Pocono. And we are joined by a driver looking to make a little history here tonight. Our Turn 200 driver to watch is Gavin Sanders. Welcome back to Booth 200. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
I think we can't complain up to this point. You're bringing the hot hand into the tricky triangle here tonight. 2 consecutive wins in your only 2 starts. So far this season. No starts outside of the front row, 76 laps up front. What's been the biggest difference between your 2 starts from last season and your 2 starts from this season?
I would definitely say staying clean, staying on top of the car. I think that both those tracks kind of gave a little bit more opportunity to get a little bit more spread out. Obviously, Richmond being a more of a track position oval, and Mid-Ohio with the road course. But yeah, tonight it will be a big time challenge. The setup has a lot of interesting tire wear. I'm expecting a lot of corner entry slipping and sliding from everybody. But it should be a good one, and let's try to keep this thing going. I mean, 2 in a row is good, 3 in a row is better, and from there, I mean, who knows, right?
Well, that pretty much covered my second question there. Matt, what do you got for Gavin?
Well, it kind of leads into mine. The first 2 races, you basically came in nearly halfway through the season. In your first 2 races, you pretty much had nothing to lose, and you resulted in 2 wins. Do you feel like you have something more to lose now that you have 2 wins or in 4th in points? And if you do, does that change how you race the tricky triangle here tonight?
I think tonight was going to be conservative either way, and try and stick around and be there at the end. Obviously, being a sort of technical pack race, where it's a lot of management and all that, but at the end of the day, it's always about that draft. I think with the current addition to the added pressure, it'll be different. I think I won't try and change the way I've raced. Obviously, it's gotten me here, so why why give up on it now? But just management, being cautious, being smart for the first little bit of the race, and stick around to the end is my main goal for tonight.
Well, no starts on any oval bigger than 1.5 miles in Daredevil competition, but he has won here at Pocono and Schaefer's IndyCar Series competition. Gavin Sanders, not only is your Turn 200 driver to watch here tonight, but he may be the first in-race reporter that we've ever had that's actually on track while we're interviewing him. So best of luck as you go for the three-peat here tonight.
Appreciate it, guys. Hopefully I'm talking to you right by the end of this thing.
There you go. We'll leave a spot for you.
Sounds good.
So there goes Gavin Sanders, and we got just a couple of minutes here before we roll into qualifying here tonight. So cars out on track right now around Pocono Raceway. He mentioned keeping the tires in check, and that's one thing that you and I talked about in the early window for this pre-race show here tonight. Is we saw this quite a bit last season. I say we. You saw this quite a bit last season with drivers overheating that right rear tire and getting themselves into a whole bunch of trouble.
Yeah, we saw it last season here quite a few times. But, I mean, we've seen that this season, too. That's just something that, particularly with these cars, seems like it is a big issue. And it almost seems like there's not much of a warning. You know, that thing gets hot in a hurry, and before you know it, you're just spinning around without a real warning. So you just have to be careful with it and manage it as good as you can.
Bit of a smaller field here as we've just got about a minute to go left in practice here tonight. We've been seeing car counts, at least on the ovals, in the mid to high 20s all season, including a 30 car field at Charlotte. But as of right now, I believe we have 22 drivers in this session. And actually a couple more are going to join here in the last few seconds, as I just saw Caleb Bency is connecting, and I believe Drew White is on his way for the first time in a couple of weeks as well. So low 20s again. We had 22 take the green flag here last season. And as this is our first return trip to a track, as we mentioned earlier in the pre-race show, we do have some prior data to go off of, not just with how these cars drive and whatnot, but also with lap times. Put a little thing together for you here. I know I told you not to put it up till qualifying, but go ahead and pull the trigger on it right now. Top time in practice right now belongs to Matthew Short. How about it for him? A 48.818. He said he absolutely killed his tires to put that time up on the board, but he did it nonetheless. That is a little bit off of the pace set by Brent Cook in the race last season with a 48.723. That's an average speed of 184.72 miles an hour. The pole time from last season was set here by Christian Jasper with a 49.200 with an average speed of 182.93 miles an hour. We'll have to see what our pole time is going to be like here this season as cars are on the track for qualifying. Yeah, I've got it set on most exciting here, so you let us know who you are following around the track, and I'll let you know if anybody bins it here on cold tires.
Yeah, currently we're watching Dakota DeMade on his outlap here before he's going to take his first green flag. And I would imagine...
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I would imagine as we see DeMade actually given a little wiggle in between turns 2 and 3, I was just going to say, I imagine that you want to get a little bit of heat in these tires, because as he actually looked like he might have made a little contact with the wall there. These fast turns, you want to get as much heat in the tires as possible, and he was attempting to, but it looked like he might have made some contact with the outside wall coming out of 3.
So
it's hard to tell.
23 people registered for this session. I believe we've lost 2 of them. We've actually lost Christopher Kresge, who said that he had to be somewhere else tonight, but he did join a little bit earlier and put some laps up in practice. I believe we've also lost Joseph DeCiro, who we've not seen in quite some time. So it would have been nice to see Joseph DeCiro back on the track here tonight. But nevertheless, that should leave us with 21 drivers to lap around here in qualifying if they so choose. D.L. Lemon is elected not to qualify, so he will start from the back. As the first driver to put up a time is James Watson. He is quickly overtaken by 2 other drivers, DeMade and Sanders. And Matthew Short now goes up to P2. Matthew Short was running up front last season here at Pocono and pushed it a little bit wide out of turn number 3 and got up into the wall and then got sent up into space, pretty much. So hoping to avoid a similar fate here tonight. If you're hanging out with us tonight, either on Twitch or on YouTube, drop us a chat. We have CX Squared in the chat, saying hello to Gavin Sanders and calling Dakota DeMade Dakota DeSlow. That's a new one. I like it, though. I do like it. As now Octavio Rondoletto has the top spot, 49.326. So these times across the board, not only in qualifying here, but in practice as well, just a touch slower than what we saw last season. Is now, look who's back on top. It's Christian Jasper, 49.250.
Yeah, we haven't seen Jasper here for at least 2 weeks, I think, maybe even a third. So good to see him back. He ran very well here at Pocono until there was an incident. I don't remember if it was a right rear issue or if there was some other sort of incident, but I do remember he was running very well and then went around at some point during the race.
He's now been overtaken by Rondoletto, so the best that Jasper can hope for here, I believe, is outside front row. Actually, he might be coming to the checkers this time. No, he's coming back to the pits, so he is done with his qualifying run, but still a front row start for Christian Jasper. Provisionally not too shabby. We do have 1 minute left here in qualifying. Caleb Bensi is on track. He just put up his first lap. It is a 49.473. That should be good enough for 9th quickest as they run. Drew White just put up his first lap. It is a 50.062. So some work to be done for Drew White here as he works his second lap. Trey Mitz, Neil Lusher, Wes A. Shire also on the track here as the clock continues to wind down.
And there's a few drivers in here that we haven't seen in a couple weeks at least. Drew White, we talked about Jasper earlier. I see Charles Grove is in here, who I don't remember seeing recently, or if he was, he might have gotten taken out early. DeCiro's in here as well. So there's some people that have not had the practice in the last couple of weeks. We'll see how they fare here tonight and what will be a tricky test.
Here we go. Starting grid for Pocono is set. Getting ready for 60 laps at the Tricky Triangle here tonight for round number 6 of the second season of the RIL Daredevil Series. With his second career pole, it's the points leader, the Argentinian Octavio Rondoletto, with a time of 49.226. Second pole of the season. 5 podiums in the 6 races thus far for Octavio Rondoletto. To the outside pole. The pole sitter here last season, although he DNF'd this race, that was Christian Jasper in car number 67. On the inside of row number 2 out of Oskaloosa, Iowa, your race winner from Pocono here last season is Nate Siefker, looking to go back-to-back at Pocono here tonight. Starting to his outside, notched his season best finish of 6th place last week at Mid-Ohio and qualified for the 0-0 challenge. That is Matthew Short on the outside of row number 2. Looking for the three-peat here tonight, Gavin Sanders. Starting on the inside of row number 3, he has our reigning Daredevil Series champion to his outside. He needs a good run here tonight. It's Dakota DeMade starting P6. Christopher Hill, a P4 finish for him last week at Mid-Ohio. He starts in 7th. Caleb Bensi making his 3rd career Daredevil start here tonight. It's his first on an oval, so we'll have to see how he fares with the Lotus around Pocono here tonight. Hugo Galez on the inside of row number 5. The Chilean has the best oval finish thus far this season of 10th at Richmond. And starting to his outside, he got his best career Daredevil finish here at Pocono last season. That is Matthew Johnston starting in 10th. Bless Lopez looking for a better result than what he posted at Richmond here tonight. He starts in P11. Second career start for Austin Lafferty, who we have not seen since Charlotte, I believe, for the Scottish driver. He is back in action here tonight. It is Trey Mitz on the inside of row number 7. P14 at Charlotte was the last time that we saw him as well. And starting his outside second of the points coming into tonight, it's James Watson starting in P14. Row number 8 on the inside, it's Zachary Flaum back in action here tonight, and Nicholas DeCitro starting in 16th. Row number 9 is Drew White on the inside, Wesley Shire to his outside. Then it is D.L. Lemon and Neil Lusher, 19th and 20th. And Charles Grove, I believe, is going to be your final starter here tonight. He cut his shift short at work to make it here tonight to Pocono to make his second career start. Alrighty, 60 laps, buddy. What are we going to be looking for as they motor around the Thunder Valley here tonight?
Well, some of our basic rules of the Daredevil series to once again keep in mind here tonight. There is an 18x incident limit. There's also a 10x warning. That warning will be a pass-through penalty. With off-tracks and some different things, we're gonna maybe see some of those. We saw a lot of contact last season, I should say. So we'll see where we end up there. Our fuel window we're thinking is gonna be somewhere around 25 laps likely. There is no fast repair, there is no lucky dog, and tonight we have 60 laps or 55 minutes. And we are also going to go ahead and take a look at our weather and see what our track temperature is at here tonight. Looks like our track temperature is currently at 105 degrees Fahrenheit, which has been a similar track temperature of what we've seen previously this season. So we better keep an eye on those right rears because we might have some issues here again tonight.
Tell you what, the drivers are feeling very memey in the chat here tonight. It has been nonstop spamming from some of these drivers in the text chat in the server. So the drivers are feeling up to the task maybe here tonight. It's going to need to be a good start up front for Octavio Rondoletto and Christian Jasper. It could fan out 4, maybe even 5 or 6 wide on this start as the pace car starts to hang that left turn into the pits. It's our first repeat race in Daredevil history as the Daredevils are on the move in Pocono. Nate Siefker with a challenge to the outside for the race lead. Rondoletto shuts the door. They'll be side by side, heading into the tunnel turn. Gavin Sanders creeping into the mix as well, running in third. Rondoletto slides up the track in front of Siefker. Siefker with a peek now to the inside into turn number 3. He has the spot clear. What will Rondoletto have now out of turn number 3? And it is nothing. Siefker picks up right where he left off last season, leading lap number 1. Rondoletto, Sanders all the way to the inside, down by the paint to try and take spot number 2 away, heading into turn 1, and he does it. If you don't get a good run out of turn number 3, it is a 3,400-foot long straightaway. And the momentum that you need to carry all the way through the straightaway, if you don't get it out of turn number 3, you're going to be hard-pressed to hold on to any position.
Yeah, what we saw from Siefker and Sanders there on the front stretch, we saw a lot last season at this race where Siefker, when he was leading her towards the front, would dive all the way down to the bottom to try to take the draft away from everybody. And we just saw that Sanders went down there to draft with him, and it actually enabled him to pass Rondoletto. So that is something that we're going to see here all night long probably.
3.5 tenths of a second at the line for Sanders. He's trying to creep his way back up to the race lead. Again, looking for a historic three-peat here tonight. He's one of 3 drivers to win 2 races in a row in the Daredevil series, and it's young history. But nobody has yet to crack that 3-in-a-row mark. Sanders could do that here tonight. He could also cement himself firmly in the championship battle, as he is right now ahead of the points leader, Octavio Rondoletto, who has slipped back to 3rd from the pole. Caleb Bensi right now from 8th to 4th. He's got a great run brewing already here as we've started to go single file most of the way through the field here, but the snake down the front straightaway. And Siefker is all the way into the checkered paint there on the bottom of the straightaway. I mean, really aggressive snaking down the straights here.
And we see Siefker go on the backstretch as well, go all the way down almost to the grass. Doing everything he can to just take a little bit of that draft away to try to keep himself out in front and keep everybody else from getting right to his rear wing.
First challenge for position on the track is for 7th. Right now, DeMade has it on the inside. Matthew Johnston wants it. He thought about going around the outside, and indeed, he is going to fall off of it, but try and mount another charge as he maybe got into the wall there out of turn number 3. And now we've got more battling up front as Rondoletto trying to hold on. He's got Bensy, Hill, and Jasper all right behind him. They sort of form a diamond down into turn number 1 and now down the long straightaway. I forget what the straightaway names are. I know there's a Long Pond straightaway. I'm not sure if it's this one or not, so I'm afraid to call them out by their names. Matthew Johnston battling side by side with Bless Lopez now for the 8th position after maybe some contact from Johnston to the outside wall down the front straightaway. But it is still Nate Siefker in control of this one as he's about to put lap number 6 up on the board. Sanders in second, Rondoletto in third. Bensy trying to have a go here at Rondoletto into turn number 1, running a little bit lower here as Siefker has sort of stacked everybody up now in through the top 6 positions right now. And DeMade is closing in on this as well to make it a 7-car battle.
That was awfully tight racing there with Rondoletto. Nearly got into the wall, it looked like, from my vantage point.
And I really shouldn't say that Siefker is backing everybody up. It just sort of looks that way as they all get the momentum and close up on him. He's got no momentum to work with as now Sanders is going to have a look to the inside. He's got him clear. And Siefker does not have a run out of the turn. So coming to lap number 7, a new race leader is Gavin Sanders. Siefker now falls back to second, side by side for P3. It's Christopher Hill looking to the inside of Rondoletto. DeMade, or rather Caleb Bensy, fancies to go to the inside there as well. They're still side by side between Hill and Rondoletto. And now I think we're seeing the pack is forming up here. So the snake is probably going to have to stop, and it's going to be side by side most of the way through the top 10 now, as everybody starts to bunch up.
And this is what we saw last year as well. A little bit into the run, we saw the pack kind of form up together. Later in the race, we had quite a few stoppages, so we didn't get to that opportunity to see as much pack racing. But here in the early goings of this one, we are seeing the same thing again. We have a little bit of a green flag run here, and the pack is starting to closing up here in the front.
Tight racing most of the way through the pack.
Yeah, really tight racing. Christopher Hill just made a move on Rondoletto to get back to the 3rd spot.
This is pretty much the top 12 cars all in this bunch from 13th on back are in their own pack, but 3.7 seconds behind race leader Gavin Sanders. And Trey Mitz has now disconnected from the race. Things settled down up here. If they settle down, I'll go back and see if something happened to Trey or if he just decided to call it a night.
And there goes
As
Christopher
Sanders
Hill.
Under fire from Christopher Hill.
Yeah, Christopher Hill made a move from 3rd and all the way up to 1st now. He had the run down the front stretch and I believe has cleared Sanders.
Sanders is going to have the momentum running off of the middle of turn number 1. He will look to pull ahead, if only by a front wing. They're 4 wide further back as Rondoletto is dipping out of this. Hill and Sanders side by side now through the tunnel turn as these tires are starting to wear. A little bobble there on the bottom from Hill.
And Rondoletto did not like the spot that he was in down there out of turn 1 and decided to just give up about 3 positions, I think. He's actually all the way down to 9th now. He did not like that 3 and 4 wide back there and decided to just back almost all the way out.
And Hill led across the line that time by 10 thousandths of a second. Look who's pulled up to P4. It's Matthew Johnston. Johnston running behind Nate Siefker, who is in 3rd. Siefker may want to take this 3 wide, and looks like he is going to. This is going to be sketchy, and he thinks better if it rolls out, and that was wise on his part, I think, as Hill takes the lead outright now, less than a car length separated from Gavin Sanders in second.
And this is why I told you I was disappointed you missed this race last year, because this is exactly what we saw last season as well here at Legacy Pocono. This is just Daredevil racing at its finest.
It's 10 down and 50 to go. And don't want to jinx it, but the longest green flag run that we've had to open a race here on an oval this season has been 12 laps at Richmond. So 12 Richmond laps are about, 5 laps here at Pocono?
Yeah.
And it's starting to ratchet up here up front as Christopher Hill led early last week at Mid-Ohio, had a little bit of a bobble, but a good recovery for him to finish just off of the podium in P4. But leading here on an oval tonight at Pocono, Matthew Johnston. How about it? He's going at it for second with Gavin Sanders. And this is only career start number 4 tonight for Matthew Johnston. He made his debut here last season, finished 8th. We saw him at Sonoma, and we saw him last week at Mid-Ohio after missing the last 5 races of Daredevil competition. And it looks like he hasn't missed a step.
Yeah, extremely quick. He's fought his way through the field here pretty quickly. I thought he was going to have Sanders clear there for second, but ended up having to, I think, just roll out of it a little bit. I thought he was going to make some contact, but still sits in third. He's under fire from Siefker here, as Sanders is now going to make a move to try to regain that top spot from Christopher Hill.
Moves Hill way up the track. That may open the door for Johnston to go through to second. We'll have to see as they work down the long straightaway here, but it is Gavin Sanders back up front now as lap number 13 goes up on the board. There goes Johnston. And speaking of Johnston, some notable drivers who are not here tonight. Nicholas Johnston is one of them. Michael the Turk. This is the first time in Daredevil Series history that he has not taken the green flag as the caution is out.
The caution is out. I'm trying to figure out where it happened.
Not quite sure.
Well,
Wes A.
there's where
Shire.
it happened. Wes A. Shire is upside down going into the infield wall. We are certainly going to have to try and take a look at that one. It looked like Drew White was involved as well as Austin Lafferty.
I think what you are going to see is the first occurrence of the self-spin, the dreaded self-spin. And it was on Drew White. And oh my, he got sent into the ether.
Ride. I'm going to have to go backwards a little bit here.
And Lafferty also went for a little flight. So 3 airborne cars between Lafferty, White, and Shire.
All right, this is Drew White, who we are watching here right now. He actually gets down onto the strips on the inside, and that gets him loose. I'm not sure it was as much of a right rear as it was. He turned too far down, almost into the grass. We're going to see him spin here. And 2 get by him, but he gets hit. I believe that's Lafferty that makes contact with him. He's actually going to disappear here for a second. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see all the fireworks.
Just Drew White takes off like a helicopter.
Unfortunately, he disappeared. After he got hit,
Yeah.
he kind of netcoded a little bit, so we didn't get to see the full flight.
I think he netcoded because he just faded from existence. That's how hard he got hit. Oh, it's unfortunate. Drew White has missed the last couple of races. So is Austin Lafferty. And their nights are certainly over. As the leaders are getting ready to head down pit road here, I do see one driver has stayed out. I think it's Matthew Short, and indeed it is. But just about everybody else is down pit road. And Matthew Short just came over the radio and said, "Whoops, I've made a mistake."
Oh, no.
The pit window is right around 20. I was getting about 23 laps. So it was about time to pit. So we'll have to see what Matthew Short has got here with just a couple of laps left in the tank, presumably anyway.
And it looks like Neil Lusher has also stayed out. Am I correct in this?
Now, Neil Lusher usually stays out, no matter what. And he was also right behind the crash, so maybe there was a chance that he got a little bit of damage. But he usually stays out no matter what. But he may come down pit road here as they come by next time. And maybe Matthew Short will as well. But as they run, go for it.
I was just going to say, if Short said that he made a mistake, I imagine he may come in this second time around, although may get some sort of penalty for that. I'm not sure what our pit lane rules as far as opening and closing is here.
We will have to wait and see here, and I'm going to wait until they come back around to the pits here, and then we'll go to a little ad read. But nevertheless, as they run right now, Matthew Short leading Neil Lusher. Those two have not pit yet. Gavin Sanders came in from the lead and is out in third. Nate Siefker and now Christopher Hill round out the top 5. Then it is Caleb Bency in P6, Christian Jasper in 7th, Dakota DeMade to 8th, Nicholas Isidro in 9th, and Octavio Rondoletto now rounds out the top 10. As Short and Lusher head down pit road.
So after those two come to the pits, Christian Jasper is going to make his way into the top 5, I believe, for the first time here tonight.
So let's go ahead and pay the bills then. And give a shout out to our title sponsor. Just because the action is stopped in Indy for the year doesn't mean that you shouldn't visit Historic Speedway, Indiana. If you find yourself around IMS this offseason, carve out a little time to visit the title sponsor of the RIL Daredevil Series, Daredevil Brewing Company. Their brewery and tap room is open Monday to Friday, located in Speedway, Indiana, right across the street from AJ Foyt Racing, just south of the track. If you're not in the mood for some brew as much as you are for some good food, then check out their restaurant, Daredevil Hall, open Tuesday to Sunday in the northeast end of Indianapolis. In addition to their tap room and restaurant, you can find their products all across Indiana in restaurants and grocery stores, including the #1 best-selling Indiana-made IPA, Liftoff. Even if you won't be in Speedway anytime soon, you can still place an order online at daredevilbeer.com. If nothing else, be sure to get on their social media and their website and thank Daredevil Brewing Company for supporting the Revolution Indy League. And also, tonight's Oval Race is brought to you by the TNT Shock Series. It's a PM18 Indy Oval League, and their season is right around the corner. The series starts November 1st, and signups are now open. Thanks to the guys at the TNT Shock Series for sponsoring tonight's Oval Race here at Pocono. And Cozy Freckles in the chat with us here tonight in Twitch. Thanks for stopping by. Nobody chatting in the YouTube right now. Let's get the YouTube chat going. I know we got some people hanging out with us on YouTube. Just say hello as we get ready to go back green here. Gavin Sanders back in control over Nate Siefker. And here goes the snake.
And Siefker is going to try to make an early move on Sanders here to get back to the top spot. As he does, Siefker was very quick on new tires to begin the race, and he has regained it again here.
He got a huge run down that straightaway. Hill and Bensley are battling now for P3, and they have faded quite a bit now for this battle from the lead. Christian Jasper is in the mix as well for that third spot. As Nate Siefker now is back in control. Jasper and DeMade side by side for P5 across the line that time. It's DeMade on the inside, and Jasper might have him clear by the time they start to turn in now to turn number 1. Turn number 1 with the crazy banking there, modeled after the late great Trenton Speedway. They head now to the tunnel turn number 2, which is modeled after, of course, Indianapolis. And then turn number 3, modeled after Milwaukee.
No wonder I always have so much trouble with turn 3.
I have trouble with them all. I like to watch races here, but I don't like to race races here because I always crash or am 15 seconds off the pace every lap. Doesn't matter what I'm driving. After that crash, we've lost Drew White, Austin Lafferty, and Wes A. Shire. Of course, Trey Mitz also disconnected as well. DNS is from Christopher Kresge and Joseph DeCiro. So that leaves us with 17 cars running. And I think everybody except for Charles Grove is in touch with the leaders here by hook or by crook. As Hill and Bensi battling still for P3. Now a look for the lead from the inside for Gavin Sanders underneath Nate Siefker.
Yeah, we have a few good battles going on here. About 2 or 3 battles too wide, into 2 and then out of 2, now into 3. Sanders has been right by Siefker for the last half a lap or so. You don't see that often here.
They spread out down this straightaway like shotgun buckshot. But they always find a way to come back together as well. There goes Siefker. Siefker's around. Is anybody going to hit him? Oh, absolutely
goodness.
Demolished. Absolutely destroyed.
And I believe that was
DL
Lemon that absolutely clobbered Nate Siefker.
Everybody else had it missed for the most part. And what it looked like was that Lemon was hard on the brakes, but he was running a little bit too high to miss that one.
So Siefker's going to go around here. Almost made contact with your leader, Sanders. Sanders gets away cleanly. Everybody else does a great job of getting slowed up here. Boy, Jasper. Actually, I think Jasper caught a little piece of him there.
And Jasper came over the radio and said, I have damage. I have damage. So Jasper did definitely get a piece of that.
And then DL Lemon comes in the good old Bitcoin car and just sends him for a ride.
Yeah, I think that's unfortunately the first and last time we're going to call out DL Lemon's name here tonight. And he started pretty deep in the pack and was kind of quietly plugging away before that incident occurred. And so I believe all we're going to lose after this is Nate Siefker and DL Lemon.
So we see Jasper is in the pits and is sitting in the pits, I'm assuming trying to fix some of that damage that he incurred. He didn't make heavy contact with Siefker, but did make enough contact to knock something loose in that machine. So is attempting to get that fixed as best as he can at the moment.
Some more unpleasantries being shared in the chat. Gotta love it. As
I mean,
one
there's
driver coming down the pit, I don't even know what you call that. The off ramp, the on ramp. I don't. There's a word for that, and I cannot think of what that is. And we'll have to see if anybody is going to come down pit road.
And we have some takers.
Couple. Rondoletto is in. Johnston is in. Watson, Flaum, Lusher, and Charles Grove. The highest they were running, I believe, was Octavio in P9.
Yeah, before the incident, I believe he was in 9th place. And, you know, honestly, that's a good move from him. He was up front in the beginning, has been right around 9th place ever since he dropped back after that 3 or 4 wide incident that he dropped out of. So probably a good idea to maybe just take a little bit of a different strategy than those leaders, come for some new tires and might have some speed here towards the end of a run.
Seems like this should be playing with fire. Do I drag Nate Siefker in for an interview? He is waiting.
I don't think anything is really going to be said about Siefker. You were talking about some unpleasantries being shared in the chat. I mean, there's not a whole lot that you can do. I mean, you just have cold tires and slip a right rear and go around. I'm not sure if there's really anything to be that mad about, unless there was somebody who didn't get on the brakes and sent somebody, I guess. But I'm not sure exactly what would be so disheartening about what happened. But feel free if you would like to.
Well, it's going to be a quickie here, as we will go ahead and pull up Nate Siefker for a quick interview here, as we got about a lap and a half to go under the caution period here. Running up front all night, it looked like it was a lot of fun. What happened to start that?
Sorry, I was laughing so hard I almost lost my voice. I just got loose. Yeah, I didn't pit for tires that time. And it stepped out, and I was almost good. And we were going to keep this thing rolling. And then unfortunate things happened there, unfortunately. And the night's done from there.
Well, you looked awfully comfy up front, having fun there with Gavin Sanders. Anybody you want to say hi to while we've got you in the booth here?
Say hi to my brother. My brother's birthday is today.
Nice.
So, yep, he turned 20. Not 21 yet, so I can't have, proper fun with him, but he'll get there. And then thank you guys for being up in the booth. Thank the admin staff. Thank all the guys that were in that stream. Nate Siefker 10X, if you guys want to swap between streams, I'm sure that'll be a fun stream. Check that out on Twitch as well. Even though the streams here are fantastic, I'm sure. If you want an inside look into the drivers, you can go ahead and do that, I suppose.
And you stream not just for Daredevil, but you stream for pretty much everything, Formula Indy, Schaefer's. I mean, you've got something going quite a bit. So, yeah, not a bad follow for sure. I tune into you every now and then.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, we try to stream Tuesday through Thursday at least, maybe some Sunday action as well, or fun action as well. So, yeah, I wouldn't mind the following along. So, if you guys get, an inside look at the broadcast tonight, just stop on in and have some fun.
Well, there you go. Thanks for stopping by. Not going to win Pocono again this season, but it's been
big
an entertaining race up front. Yeah, sorry about that. But thanks for stopping in. Thanks for giving us your perspective there.
No problem. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the broadcast.
Well, there you go, Nate Siefker. Always the professional up here. And like to talk to him on the podium. And I've only got to do that one time this season, unfortunately. And it's not going to change here tonight. As we are getting ready to go, lap number 24 is going to go up on the board. It'll be 37 to go when they come back to the line. Gavin Sanders leading, Caleb Bency, Christopher Hill, Dakota DeMade, Nicholas Isidro, your top five.
And after this restart, we have two RaceVerse sponsored drivers. Sanders and Bency are now 1 and 2. Christopher Hill in tow behind Bency with DeMade and Isidro behind him to round out the top 5, as it looked like Sanders got very close to the wall there coming out of 2.
Want to say hi to ShadowFox49 for hanging out with us at the YouTube chat here tonight. He said not a lot of time to react for DL Lemon, and I would think I would have to agree there, especially where he was at, kind of tucked in behind another car, and it just pulled out. It's a tough ask for sure, but you can understand why Siefker is disappointed after running up front. And he said he didn't pit for tires there, which is interesting. It does take quite a bit of time to change the tires on these cars, but still, I would think you'd be screaming for tires here.
Yeah, we've had some drivers mention this season that after a caution period and they go back out without taking tires, they're actually pretty nice. I would imagine at the end of that run, the second run, they would be hurting very badly. But we have had some people say that they have employed that strategy before, so it's not like he was trying anything crazy there. But certainly a different strategy that I'm sure a lot of our drivers tonight here are on.
Bency had a run on Sanders, pulled up to him and stalled out, and Hill had some momentum behind him and took advantage. He's got second right now. Takes a look to the inside. The run is going to stall out as the caution is back out. problems for, I believe, Charles Grove.
And also your points leader, Octavio
Oh.
Rondoletto, is slow coming out of turn 1, and it looks like he has some pretty severe damage to that machine.
It was the dreaded self-spin. Quite a bit of damage oh, wow. Quite a bit of damage to the rear wing of that car, and that's really the first misstep we've seen all season from Rondoletto.
This is your points leader, Octavio Rondoletto, that we are behind at the moment. And yep, just diving down that hill into 1. Rondoletto goes around on his own. Yep, hits the right side of the vehicle to the wall. And you mentioned Grove as well. Oh, there comes Grove into the picture. Probably just spun it out trying to stay away from Rondoletto there.
Yeah, I can't say enough about that move. Grove sees it happening in front of him and locks it down and comes up just short of Rondoletto. So some awesome heads-up driving there by Charles Grove, and I'm glad that he gets to sort of drive away from that one as well. Doesn't hit the wall, doesn't hit Rondoletto. Everything should be good to go on the 0-7. So a great showing there for Charles Grove to not completely end the day of Octavio Rondoletto, although we will have to see with the amount of damage on that car what is going to come now of the points leader, as Gavin Sanders. Can't stress this enough. He started 2 races this season and has won 2 races. We talk about it all the time, this top-heavy points format where it pays to finish in the top 6, 7, 8 positions, and it really doesn't pay anything outside of that. And we've only seen 1 finish outside of the top 8 this season for Rondoletto after he led all but 1 lap at Charlotte. He finished P9 there. Every other finish has been on the podium for Rondoletto this season. It's going to be a tough row to hoe for him to duplicate that here tonight. As split decision throughout the field, some stayers, some goers.
Yeah, the first 4 drivers, maybe first 3 drivers actually, it looks like might have stayed out there.
Lopez, Short, Watson, Flaum, Isidro, Neil Lesher, Charles Grove, of course, on pit road, as well as Octavio Rondoletto.
And while you were speaking there, we were taking a look at some of Rondoletto's damage. Really heavy damage to the rear wing, and then the front wing was quite bent as well. I'm sure there's some toe out in the front also, so definitely going to be tough. I mean, he's going to be able to continue. Hope that there's some incidents with some other drivers here, I'm guessing is what we're going to hope for. Maybe he can, maybe get up to a top 12 or something if we have some more incidents here tonight.
So if I'm understanding this correctly in the YouTube chat, ShadowFox49 is Christian Jasper, but is he not in this race right now? Unless I'm misinterpreting the message there.
No, I thought Shadow Fox was Christian Jasper. I was going to say that, but I didn't want to just in case I was incorrect.
No, Jasper, remember, got in that accident and must have had enough damage to retire. So, man, that really sucks. I couldn't tell how much damage he really had on that car. And so the fact that he's done for the night. Yeah, that's, that's unfortunate. That really is.
And Charles Grove hops
Charles,
in here.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Yeah,
Yep.
I just saw that. Said they're pretty hard to stop. Hey, I did a good job of of staying
made it look
out
easy.
of an incident. Yeah, I mean, I know you went around, but definitely not easy to stay away from those drivers that are around in front of you. So did a great job trying, keeping that car at least pretty much undamaged. We'd rather have you spin out than be retired from the race.
So Matthew Johnston pits from P8 here on the second lap under caution, as now Zachary Flaum comes back down, as does Charles Grove. So let's reset it for you here. First of all, I think the biggest news is that we are not going to hit 60 laps again here this season. Right now, Sim Racing app is showing a maximum of 57 laps to be completed here at Pocono, as we've got about 22 and a half minutes to go as they run. So a maximum of 57 laps. That'll probably tick down a couple more before we come back to the green flag. So let's just say we're shooting for about lap 55, as lap number 30 is going to go back up on the board when they come back around here. It is Gavin Sanders right now leading, Christopher Hill in second. Caleb Bency in his first Daredevil oval outing here tonight runs in P3. Hugo Galaz is in P4. Awesome run for him thus far. And James Watson rounds out your top 5. Boy, it is going to be a good points day here for Sanders and for James Watson. Dakota DeMade, a strong run tonight comparatively to the season anyway, in P6. And then it'll be Nicholas Isidro in 7th, Bless Lopez in 8th. Matthew Short, Neil Lusher, Zachary Flaum, as well as Matthew Johnston. Hard to tell where anybody is, actually, because I don't have live timing. I have timing to the last lap. And we had a few people come back down pit road.
You pretty much nailed them all. I don't think we had too many that came back down. We had a lot of people actually that stayed in, trying to fix damage and whatnot as we're about to take the green. The pace car has now pulled off.
Maximum of 56 laps now is the official showing if we go green the rest of the way, but that has proven to be a tough task here tonight as Gavin Sanders starts the snake now down the long straightaway. Christopher Hill hanging tight, though. But a great corner entry for Sanders, and he caps him by about another car length out of turn number 1. Caleb Bency holding tough in 3rd. They've separated themselves from Galaz and Watson now, and the rest of the top 10.
And I got to tell you, it is uncanny how much this race tonight resembled our Season 1 race as well. We had an initial pretty long green flag run, and then after that, we had a lot of incidents, which is exactly what has happened here tonight. And one of your front runners that had the lead for a majority of that first half of the race is now out. Matthew Short last season was up front quite a bit, and then he hit the outside wall, took himself out of the race. Tonight, Seifker was leading many laps and up front all night long and self-spins and then gets taken out as well. So a very, very much paralleled race here tonight from what we had in Season 1.
And if you had to press me off the top of my head, I think we ended with 42 laps on the board last year. 18 were lost to the time limit. So let's hope that hope against hope, I guess, that it doesn't come down to that this season, that we can finish a lot closer to the actual scheduled amount of laps than we did last time out. Top 4 starting to bunch back together, but man, Christopher Hill went way wide out of turn number 3. There goes Caleb Bency through to P2. Hill battling back now on the outside. Bency trying to hold down the bottom. Hugo Galaz is here as well. Could be a career night in Daredevil competition for Hugo Galaz. P4 will be his best overall finish thus far in his young Daredevil career.
And you see two race first drivers working together a little bit here as Bency is able to catch the draft from Sanders on the bottom, and he now gets around Christopher Hill, so benefiting from having the draft from, I believe, a teammate in Sanders, or if not, directly teammates, at least linked together for sure.
Yeah, before the chat gets flooded with RIL doesn't have teams. No, there are associations, though. Everybody associates with one driver or another, even if they're just friends. You'll race them differently. So, yeah, no teams, no team points, but you can still act like teammates to one another. So that's the implication there. As Sanders, Bency, Hill, Galaz, Watson, all in tow, as well as Bless Lopez right behind Watson. The top 6 starting to bunch back up together. Dakota DeMade trying to push hard to attach himself to this group as well in P7.
And Bency is right behind Sanders through that section of the track. I thought he was trying to make a move as a caution. Is now out again.
It's Nicholas Isidro. Drew White just came over the radio and apologized for bringing out the first caution because all other subsequent cautions have been the root cause of his.
Well, not surprising. Drew White just causes all our problems here in the
Okay.
Daredevil series. So.
This isn't Thunderdome. You can't fake beef with people in the broadcast booth here. Save that for the Thunderdome.
You're right. But that's a sacred the Thunderdome thing.
Yeah.
Whoa, and that was some serious netcode. Holy cow.
Yeah. Some close quarters racing for sure, but
yeah, I mean, him and Johnston were close together, but that was well after they had even separated that it kicked him around. That's just unfortunate and also not right. So I'm going to apologize on Netcode's behalf to Nicholas Isidro for that one.
Oh, don't apologize for Netcode. Netcode has a lot of explaining to do. It has ruined so many races and so many cars and so many leagues and so many official races. And Octavio Rondoletto has just dropped out.
Wow.
Now, I will say he was in the pits repairing damage before this, but he has now officially left the server. So, as Nate Siefker spams championship implications here, the leaders head down pit road. We'll say the best that Rondoletto could finish now is P14.
All right, so we saw some split pit strategies last time around, and it's rearing its head as our previous leaders are going to have to come into pit now, and that's going to put Bless Lopez out in front of the field on this restart.
Bless Lopez leading the way. Dakota DeMade has stayed out. Matthew Short is out. Neil Lusher has stayed out, as has Charles Grove. So they now sit in the top 5. Sanders 6th, Bency 7th, Galaz in 8th, Christopher Hill in 9th, James Watson 10th. Then P11 will now be Zachary Flown. Matthew Johnston, I believe, will be out P12. And P13 belongs to Isidro, but I doubt he can get that car fixed. But we will have to wait and see. So that should leave 12 cars running. All 12 of them will be on the lead lap. But how about Bless Lopez up front? You mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, Bless Lopez had a lot of speed here last season and towards the end of Season 1 in our ovals and races beyond. So it's not that surprising to see him up here, although he hasn't had as good of runs this season as I expected. But he's used good strategy, has found his way up to the front here tonight. And we'll see if he can capitalize on that good strategy play.
Yeah, Bless Lopez debuted in Michigan last season, which was round number 3. Made sporadic appearances throughout the season after that. Led a couple of laps, quite literally a couple of laps, in competition last year. And really has not... he's tried to make his way to the front a couple of times and been thwarted by other people wrecking. And then had a really rough go of things in Richmond. So Bless Lopez up front here tonight. That is career lap lead number 3. He said he started getting into iRacing after watching anime. And I'm not an anime fan. I can't remember the name of the anime in particular. But that's a cool path into sim racing, I suppose, from watching anime.
Yeah, I just started watching some myself. I watched the Cyberpunk 2077 anime Edgerunners not too long ago, and I have now started Attack on Titan as well. So
wow.
Certainly an interesting little way to get into iRacing. That is certainly a unique one.
Yeah, the only anime that I've watched is One Punch Man, and I'm waiting for the next season of that to drop, but I don't think it ever will, unfortunately. I know exactly how we got here. I'm just very surprised that it has gone this far, I suppose. Anyway, Bless Lopez is the leader. And, man, what a good run it's been tonight, and it's been so refreshing to see this man back up front where he belongs. Dakota, the Cornfield Kid DeMade, running in P2. Best finish this season of 8th. It has not been the season that Dakota DeMade wanted. Your reigning Daredevil Series champion. but he could put his stamp back on the field here tonight with a great run at Pocono and possibly even a win. We'll have to wait and see. Most laps we can get in now is 53. According to the sim, we've got about 12 minutes left to go in our contest here tonight at Pocono as the pace car hangs a left. Back into the pits. Lopez in control. DeMade, Short, Sanders, Bensi, and Lusher. Good jump for Lopez.
And for those of you that were paying attention, we had a couple of more cars come to pit. Charles Grove and Neil Lusher were two of them. So Sanders went from starting 6th to now starting in 4th as he continues in that 4th position for the time being. As Dakota DeMay, the demigod, is going to look to the inside of Bless Lopez in turn number 2 to take the top spot, and he clears him.
Christian Jasper coming in clutch. It was initial D, and that is, I do remember that is the name of the anime. But unfortunately, initial D not working, helping Bless Lopez right now. He slips back to P2. The Cornfield Kid is back up front. DeMade leading at Pocono. Short trying to hold off Sanders right now for P3. Lopez takes about another go there, looking to the inside in turn number 1. But fades away just a little bit. Short now pulling up to Lopez. Sanders and Bensi maybe just sitting back and biding their time a little bit. They've got Galaz, Hill, Watson, and Flauman touch with them. Johnson just went through, actually on James Watson, I believe. As now the top 3 cars starting to bunch back up again.
And Tommy, I'm letting you know, so you know for the viewers, I have now switched to watching the time limit on our ticker here. So we are at 10 minutes and 30 seconds when they cross the line there, and counting down. And now Matthew Short has gotten through on both Bensi and Sanders.
He was already in P3, so this is actually Sanders trying to launch an attack for 3rd now as they head into the tunnel to 3rd. Lopez looking to the inside, trying to take the lead back, has got DeMade cleared once again for P1. DeMade trying to go around the outside, going to fall back into line as they start to head back towards the front straightaway.
And it'll be interesting to see if we can get a green flag run here, because if we do, it's going to be chaotic here at the end. I would imagine that pack's going to start forming as we continue on this run.
Top 7 drivers in touch here as we start working our way towards the end of this one. Under 10 minutes to go now, make it about 9.5. As here goes DeMade back to the inside of Bless Lopez. Sanders is going to have a bit of a momentum as well. He'll look to the inside now of Lopez, who washes it a bit wide there through the tunnel turn. Sanders not quite clear of Lopez. Still not clear now into turn number 3. He is clear. Lopez with a little bit of momentum now through the middle and exit of the corner. But it is Sanders back to P2 now with Dakota DeMade. Maybe in his crosshairs, maybe not. Still having to play defense with Bless Lopez.
Matthew Short washed way up the track there as well. Now finds himself all the way back to 6th. Went from 3rd, and now he's actually gotten by Hill again, it looks like. So went from
Sanders,
3rd to 6th there at one time.
Sanders looks really uneasy on that right rear tire. He is bouncing off of it every now and again in turn number 1. It's nervous moments from the outside of the cockpit looking in. But Sanders still with a little bit of a run now on DeMay, trying to figure out where he can take it. Starts high on corner entry, moves it to the middle. Maybe having to play a little bit of simultaneous offense and defense. He has a run on DeMade, but Bless Lopez again right back on the attack on the inside. And Lopez back up to P2. Here he goes to the inside of DeMade. DeMade crashes into him. Sanders. They're done. All 3 of them. Oh, more contact. That was, I believe that was James Watson. Oh, my goodness. You're kidding.
Wow.
Oh, my.
Absolute disaster for almost everybody that's at the top of our points standings right now.
I mean, Sanders looking for 3 wins in a row. And looking for a great points day. James Watson also looking for a great points day as Rondoletto sits in the pits in P14. Watson has at least got that car rolling, but it won't be rolling for long. It looks like I can't even think of a joke. That's how tattered that thing looks. I've never seen a car that torn up. Oh my goodness.
This is DeMade in this multicolored car on the top side here. Goes around on his own. Tries to lock the brakes up, gets into Lopez, and shoots right up into Sanders. It looked like Short made a little contact with Sanders. I'm not sure. Also, Matthew Johnston.
Is there anybody left in this race?
Ahead of those, there were about 5 cars maybe that got all the way through. And you were correct. That was Watson that got into Sanders as well.
I mean, Watson looked like a coin toss. He was just everywhere. I can tell you the drivers that are up front here that avoided that. Bensey, Hill, and Short. Hugo Galaz as well. Believe Zachary Flaum made it through without much damage. Looking at Neil Lusher, that car looks pretty clean for the Super Dave Osborne car. Charles Grove. Charles Grove is, oh man, he made the right choice leaving work early tonight. He's going to get himself a great finish here. And then, yeah, Sanders, Watson. Watson's still on the track. I mean, are you showing Watson? It looks like a shark bite on the right side of his tub. It just looks like there's no tub on my screen.
Well, as you were talking, I just showed the cockpit view from James Watson all the way through that. Quite a few flips and turns there.
Now Watson's doing what I should have done in our Super Speedway League on Monday night, and he's got the meatball, but he's staying out because everybody else is going to pit and have to retire the car. Watson's got about another lap of a grace period to work with here. Before he has to pit that car or face disqualification. So he's got the meatball riding around to ensure that he's got a couple more spots on some of the drivers like DeMade and Lopez that pit right away.
Yeah, currently out there on track right now, only 9 cars. And Watson is not going to really be able to continue. So we're really looking at, in my opinion, we're looking at maybe 7 competitive cars here that are left.
I think 8 total cars, and that's going to have to be good enough because we can't conjure any more than that. What an insane race this has been. No, there's not been a 15-car absolute meme pileup like we had in Charlotte, but there's been plenty of action and plenty of disaster. As Drew White just DM'd me and said hello. Hello, Drew White. And he sent me a replay. I'll have to watch that after the race as well. Nevertheless, pace car stays on the track, man. These are long pace laps, about 1 minute and 45 seconds. And we've only got 3 minutes left in this race, so it may be another one-lap dash to the finish. Like we had in Richmond. So we'll have to see. After the restarts here, things have been pretty strung out. So Caleb Bensey may be looking good here unless you think otherwise.
Well, they have been strung out, but they haven't been so strung out that we've seen just runaways. I mean, they've been strung out in the sense that the most we've seen is 2 wide strung out throughout the field. So I do think it's still possible, especially with the second-place car being Christopher Hill, who has been very fast here tonight. I do think it's possible that Bensi is still on the hot seat. I don't think it's going to be an easy task.
Christopher Hill, Matthew Short, Hugo Galaz, Matthew Johnston. Make up your top 5. Hill and Short are both multi-time podium finishers. In fact, Matthew Short is one of 2 drivers, I believe, to have 3 podium finishes in Daredevil competition, but has yet to make a trip to victory lane. Christopher Hill is the other driver, actually. He's finished second 3 times, but all those came on road courses. So tonight is by far his best oval performance of his young career. And Caleb Bensi, this is his 3rd Daredevil start here tonight. Of course, he's a 3-time Schaefer's IndyCar Series champion and an absolute stun behind the wheel of an IR-18, but we've only seen him 3 times in Daredevil competition. And he leads the field through turn number 3. What is probably going to be the white flag here, I would have to guess.
And Christian Jasper's in chat comparing this to Rockingham. I would think that's correct, because we're going to see what flag we are going to get here.
Green flag is out at the line. Couldn't really tell what was waving there, but there goes Christopher Hill. Hill through to the lead. Matthew Short looking to go through on Bensi as well. Bensi with a surge of momentum now out of 2-1. He's back to it on the outside.
And Hill thought about trying to keep him up there, but gave him room on the top side. He had such a big run out of 1. Just to let you know, and it looked like there's some contact there.
Bensi saves it. I don't know how, but the right rear from Hill. Hill's got the lead. Short now looking to go through to second.
And all of a sudden, Matthew Johnston has appeared in 4th as well, right behind Bensi. He's going to try to make a move. As I saw a flag flying, I believe that might be the white flag, and it is. This is going to be the last lap of the race.
1 to go. Here goes Bensi to the inside of Matthew Short for second. Johnston is there in 4th. Bensi is in 3rd. Short trying to close back in for the race lead. The snake down the straightaway. Short trying to pick his spot here. Some defense there. Through the tunnel turn. Bensi now going to have a peek back to the inside of Short for second. Hill with control. Here goes Bensi through to second. But out of turn number 3, no momentum for Caleb Bensi. It's going to be Christopher Hill to the line to win it. Christopher Hill is finally a winner with the RIL Daredevil Series.
And Bensi was giving it everything he had there at the end to try to make something happen. You got to feel like he might have lost an opportunity there, and he was trying desperately to get it back after the restart.
Pocono never fails to disappoint, unless you're one of the 15 drivers that got wrecked out here tonight. Then you're probably a little disappointed.
No, that's a lot of people.
But for the folks watching here tonight on Turn 200, this was a special one. And it's been a special night for Christopher Hill. The parade lap around Pocono. And he gets to come back to the front straightaway and burn him down. Awesome performance here tonight for Christopher Hill. His first career RIL Daredevil Series victory. And I mentioned it before, it's his 4th career podium. He had 3 runner-up finishes, all to Michael DeTurk in road course competition. His best career oval finish before tonight was a 4th place finish at Rockingham. Last season, he was in that race as well and was leading, actually, and spun himself out of turn number 4. So some hopes dashed that night. But tonight, he's back on top where he belongs. Yeah, let's go ahead and give you the full finishing rundown here as Hill does the loop-de-loops on the front straightaway. Caleb Bensi, career best finish here tonight with the Daredevils. He finishes P2. We'll have him in booth 200 momentarily, as will Matthew Short. A P3 again here tonight. It's the 4th of his career. And man, so close to victory. I'm sure Matthew Short, he may be a little fired up after that one. We'll have to wait and see. Matthew Johnston, P4 here tonight at Pocono. Career best finish for him. P5 for Zachary Flaum here tonight. Career best finish for him. Tied the mark for career best finish for Hugo Galaz in P6. Neil Lusher, his first top 10 of the season in P7. Charles Grove, a career best finish of 8th here tonight. And the last driver running on the track was Nicholas Isidro in P9. And then now we get into the sadness zone here. Still a top 10 finish for James Watson here tonight, but could have really taken advantage of Octavio Rondoletto's DNF here tonight, but he finishes in 10th nevertheless. Gavin Sanders from the lead finishes in 11th, Bless Lopez in 12th, Dakota DeMade in P13. Then it is Rondoletto all the way down in 14th. He's scheduled to be our Turn 200 driver to watch in a couple of weeks at Gateway, so we'll have to wait and see what Rondoletto has to say about his chances moving forward. Undoubtedly, he'll still be the points leader after tonight, though. It is a DNF for Christian Jasper as well in P15, as is Nate Siefker, DL Lemon, Drew White, Austin Lafferty, Wes A. Shire, your top 20. Trey Mitz, the only other driver to take the green flag here tonight. He finishes in 21st after completing just 7 laps. All right, it is time to bring your podium finishers up into booth 200. And we will start with the man who was oh so close, about as close of a third place finish as you can get here tonight for Matthew Short. Welcome back to booth 200. I know you probably wished you were up there a couple of spots higher, but still an exciting race nonetheless, and you walk away with the podium.
Yeah, I'll take the third. With all the carnage that happened, and even on lap 1, I got way up in the wall and barely touched it. It was a 0x, but I was worried I had damage. But I'll take a third, especially after I made a mistake in that very final corner. I thought I was in 5th gear, so entering turn 3, I went into 3rd and lost all momentum. And luckily, Caleb was following Hill a little bit more, so I was able to get the draft and pull ahead and still keep my 3rd.
Yeah, we saw you all through the field here throughout this race. You were up front, you were in the middle. Did you think that you had anything if the caution hadn't have come out there for DeMade and Sanders and Lopez and any of them?
If I was closer, yes, but I was out of the draft at that point, so I was just bleeding time to them. So that caution actually saved me, and that caution gave me my 3rd.
There you go, Matt. You got anything for Matt? The classic Matt combo.
Of course, it's got to feel like a little bit of a redemption race after season 1. You were running up front and put yourself in the outside wall. How does it feel to get a little bit of redemption here at Legacy Pocono? First,
I appreciate you reminding me of that. Real dude, no, you're good. No, yeah, it's fine. I was excited. I guess I have speed here with this car. I was. A lot of the field, I mean, you saw all of us down in that radio chat. A lot of them were using 5th gear by themselves, and I kind of had to mention, just keep it in 4th if you're not in the draft, and that's how you get the speed here.
Well, an awesome job here tonight. Who do you want to thank from the 3rd place step on the podium here tonight?
I want to thank my buddy Sean, buddy of mine, we call him Zezin. Got to thank Nate, all of TWR, and then a big thanks, and please let him know, Mr. Caleb Bensey for helping me out keeping that 3rd after that stupid mistake.
Will do, buddy. Congrats again on a 3rd place finish, and hope to talk to you again here in the next few races.
Appreciate you guys. You have a good night.
Alrighty. He says he wants us to thank Caleb Bensey here, so let's go ahead and do that. Welcome to booth 200, Caleb Bensey. 2nd place run for you here tonight, and it was an electric one. You were slicing and dicing there on that final restart. How do you feel about your 2nd place finish here tonight?
Not bad. I didn't do a single lap till qualifying, so no idea what to expect. But yeah, kind of a crazy pack race, as I guess you'd expect with this car and this size track. So yeah, I mean, just kind of chaos, trying not to die, other people spinning around and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I guess pretty happy with the 2nd. That last restart, I thought the green would come out a little later. I was going to try to wait to go, but green came out pretty early, so kind of got caught out there and just never could quite get it back. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting one.
Well, we just had Matthew Short up in the booth here, and he said to thank you for keeping him on the podium at least. So
Okay, yeah.
racing against Hill and Short and Johnston and guys like that there towards the end of the race, did you think that you could have done anything differently to get up to the front, or do you think? Well, what were you thinking there towards the end of the race?
I think the only thing different, Hill kind of gave a slider in turn 2
Yeah,
where
kind of.
he wasn't clear. So
No.
I think that's the only thing that could have gone differently for me, but that or a little bit of a better start. So, yeah, outside of that, I think being able to hold that outside, maybe try to carry more speed around 3 and kind of hold the lead from there was my only shot. But yeah, after that contact, it was kind of just happy to still be driving it straight. So, yeah, I mean, just here for fun. So cool to get a podium though for sure.
Matt, you got anything for Caleb?
Well, it's always great to have you out here running with the Daredevil series, Caleb. We appreciate you coming out here.
Thank you.
I guess just after the restart, you kind of mentioned it that it just kind of caught you off guard a little bit there. It looked like you were really pushing it hard, trying to slice and dice to get back what you lost. Do you feel like you kind of lost out on an opportunity there, or are you just kind of happy with the second?
Happy with the second, considering the fact I kind of screwed it up. But yeah, like that was the first time I led a restart, and just I don't know. I wanted to go as late as I possibly could to not give him as big of a run on me on the straightaway. But green just came out really quick. Like as soon as the pace car lights up top of the screen went out for me, the green came out. So yeah, I just wasn't really ready for that. And then so Hill got a good jump, and I don't ever drive these cars, so my shifting is atrocious too. So that definitely didn't help. But and then yeah, after the contact, just keeping it straight, happy with second. But obviously here to win, so that's a little bit of a bummer. But still cool to get a podium for sure.
Shout outs for you from the silver medal here tonight.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting this league. Not here a lot, but always a good time for sure. So thanks to you guys. Race first on the car, Fawn and Fanny, custom body care. If you haven't heard of that, if anyone hasn't heard of that, please go check them out. Really cool stuff. And yeah, family and friends always supporting. So yeah, pretty fun one for sure.
Well, there you go. First time out on an oval with the Daredevils and P2. So pretty good inaugural outing for you here tonight. Caleb Bensi, again, congratulations on your second place finish.
I appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
So there goes the three-time champ. We'll now bring in your race winner for the first time in his Daredevil career. We welcome in Christopher Hill as the race winner. Congratulations, man. What an awesome drive there in the last couple of laps.
Yeah, that was super fun. Finally got one of these things, so pretty happy with that.
Now, were you in the same boat as Matthew Short there before that last caution? Where were you running at? You were pretty close to the front, weren't you? You were right behind Bensi or right in front of him?
Yeah, I mean, before the last caution, or I guess second to last caution or whatever, I was within that top 3 pack, and then basically, I think we made the pit stop, and we're in pretty good spot, but we lost a lot of track position, and then when that big wreck happened with the top handful there, I guess it was 1 or 2 cautions ago or whatever, it definitely promoted me up into a good position. So definitely gave me a good shot at it, and I think it was in the top 3. I don't know, I kind of lose track, but I was up there towards the front when it all kind of, the opportunities presented themselves, so to speak. So
now the contact that you had with Bensi there coming to the white flag, did you know how big of a run that he had coming out to your outside there?
I don't think so. I mean, I think it was one of these things where like I had heard clear and I started moving up the track, and then as soon as I started moving up the track, I heard he was there and tried to leave some space. I have to look at the replay to see exactly, but I don't think it was. I didn't feel contact from my side of it, but if it impeded his run, that's a shame. So.
Yeah. I've been in that same scenario 100 times, I'm sure, with a car just has a big run there on the outside, and I don't realize how big it is. And there may not have been contact, actually. I was watching from the blimp view. It just looked pretty close from all the way up there. Matt, you got anything for Christopher here?
I mean, ran up front all night long, put on a show for us here tonight. So we want to congratulate you and thank you for making it interesting for us here this evening. Honestly, don't have any other questions. Just want to thank you for coming out and supporting the Daredevil series. And congratulations on a good run.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's great to finally get top step of the podium. It's been a lot of second places in the last season, and heck, even on an oval to get a success is a miracle, because those are usually my Achilles heels, or however the heck you say it, my weak spot. And to be able to pull something off there and actually get a win feels great. So hopefully we can keep the momentum up for a couple more rounds and move up a couple spots in the championship. So.
Well, I appreciate it, if only because you were my preseason dark horse pick to have some good races. So you make me look smart because yeah, we saw you run, I think, second place in every road course race last season, and got really close to the Turk, who was untouchable a couple of times. So you almost did the unthinkable last season, but you did it here tonight. You fend off some hungry lions for the win here tonight. Who do you want to thank? Who do you want to give a shout out to from the top step here?
Well, yeah, I definitely want to thank the guys over at TWR. I mean, it's been a great group of guys to sort of work with on all forms of racing. We've been doing a lot with the IndyCar and this kind of stuff, but it's just a great group of guys, and it's definitely helped my racecraft and advancement forward on that. Within these tricky cars, sometimes having someone else to bounce something off of really helps. I always got to mention Precision Racing Instruction. That's my business. I basically, coach people usually in the real world, sometimes on the sim, but basically, full-time driving instructor, coach with them, and also the BMW Performance Center. So anybody's looking to get tuned up, you can reach on out. And yeah, thanks for putting on the broadcast. Can't wait to watch it back and see it. So good stuff.
Well, there you go. Go party hard tonight, and thanks for coming out. And an awesome run again tonight. Your first career Daredevil Series victory for Christopher Hill. Congratulations.
Thanks so much. Have a good one.
All righty. Whew. Where do we even start after this one? Holy cow.
Well, this is a little bit how I felt after Pocono last season as well. What I also want to tell you, what Drew White sent us in Discord, is his view of his crash. He got to see the whole deal of it, and just wanted to show us exactly how high he ended up going.
Yeah, I just watched it. Looked like Wes A. Shire was trying to turn him into a pizza. He made him into pizza dough. It was just tossing him all the way up into the ceiling of the map there. But nevertheless,
there's gotta be some sort of paint scheme or something next season with the pizza dough.
Pizza boy Drew White there with the wild ride of the day, I think. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much happened. What an eventful race! What a crazy race! What an awesome race! Pocono delivers again, and I'm glad I got to be here for it this season. And I hope Pocono makes an appearance on season 3 schedule, but we'll have to wait and see what tricks Kresge has up his sleeve. Any closing remarks here tonight before we take a bit of a breather before we head to Gateway in a couple of weeks?
Well, as always, thanks to all of the viewers that came out to watch our wonderful races here tonight. We just always have great action here in the Daredevil series, and we appreciate everybody coming out and supporting it. But also, look for in the next week or week and a half at the points, because many of our drivers were taken out of this thing, and we might have some new faces being shown in the podium, or at least moving up the point standing. So that should be interesting to see how all of that has played out after tonight.
Alrighty. Thanks to everybody for their continued support of Turn 200. We've hit 30 subs on YouTube. We're pretty close to 70 followers on Twitch. Could not do any of this without you guys. Appreciate all the support and everybody chatting week in and week out here during the Daredevil season. Our next broadcast will be right here in 2 weeks at 7:45 Eastern as we head into my neck of the woods. It's Worldwide Technology Raceway, a.k.a. Gateway. You're going to want to be a part of the action that the RIL Daredevil series brings here every single week on Turn 200. So be sure to like the stream here tonight. Hit follow and subscribe on either Twitch or YouTube to get notifications every time that we go live here. Not only this season, but as we move ahead into 2023, we've got a lot of things planned. So you're going to want to be a part of that. Thanks once again to Daredevil Brewing Company, the title sponsor of the RIL Daredevil series, for their continued support, as well as the TNT Shock series for sponsoring tonight's event, and to Jacksonville Speedway for sponsoring the 0-0 Challenge, which I will be shocked if more than 2 or 3. Actually, we only had 9 cars finish the damn race, so I highly doubt that we got more than a couple of people who are taking the pot up on the 0-0 Challenge, but we'll have to wait and see. So that is all we got for you here tonight. For the greatest stream producer of all time, Mr. Matt Williamson, thank you very much. I have been Tommy Cook. Until we meet again here on Turn 200, we say so long from virtual Pocono Raceway, where Christopher Hill finally comes over the hill and wins his first career Daredevil race.